What is up, YouTube? Today is Sunday. We are at the end of January. This month has flown by. And today I'm gonna film for you a full day of eating. I've been tracking my macros consistently this past week. Things have been going very well. I'm gonna do my actual weekly update in a separate video that you guys can watch. But today I'm gonna just do a day of eating. It's a good day for me to do it because we're pretty much at home all day on Sundays, which I like. If you're a homebody like me, let me know below. But I can actually just cook and eat at home and not eat out of Tupperware, which is so nice. It gives me such an appreciation for food and being able to just be in my kitchen and eat. So we're gonna do that. I already trained this morning. I did legs, did not do cardio today. I do like to train fasted because I like getting up and going in the morning. If I sit around and kind of eat and chill out, it takes a lot for me to get out of the house. So for me, it's just better off if I get up and get moving in the morning, get myself to the gym and get it over with. And so I'm gonna make breakfast right now. I am going to adjust my macros a little bit after doing them this past week. I'm gonna adjust them for the upcoming week. So I'll share with you guys in a little bit later how I adjust them and why and all that good stuff. So, but first, it's time to do lunch on breakfast. Good looking. And now I've got this sprouted, flourless, whole wheat berry bread in the toaster right now, which I really like. So I've got 2 slices in there. I'm gonna use 1 tablespoon of the mixed nut butter, and then I love this shit, 2 tablespoons of the sugar-free strawberry preserves, which, interestingly enough, has a good amount of fiber in it. So 3 grams of fiber per serving on that guy. There it is in all its glory. I may use some of this no sugar added ketchup on my omelet. We shall see. That is from Canada. By the way, my parents always hop over to Canada and get us treats before they come and visit. So for my first meal, since it's the first time I'm eating today on the weekend, I don't usually plan out my macros as well. It's not like I haven't put this in my fitness pal yet. I just basically like to eat my first meal, whatever I'm craving, whatever I'm in the mood for, which tends to be higher fat. Like, I have no issues getting fat in my diet, so right now I need to be not careful, but I have to make sure I don't blow my load on all my fat grams with my first meal. But yeah, I like higher fat, guys. I just do. I could just eat it all up. So I have to be careful with that and make sure I'm getting enough carbs versus too much fat, because, you know, everyone's body works differently, but I cut enough times for show prep that I've seen and I kind of know what my body best responds to. So although I would prefer eating a higher fat, lower carb diet, my body doesn't respond as quickly. So my body responds very, very well to higher carb, lowering my fats. So it's kind of hard. It's challenging in a way because it would be easier to just eat more fat, less carbs for me, but I know that is not where I see the results. So, and everyone is different. Some people are the opposite and they see better results with higher fat, lower carb, or just moderate fat, carbs, protein. You just kind of learn what your body responds best to and what you feel best doing. So I'm gonna grab on this. I'm excited. Looks so good. I just ate all of that and definitely feel like I could eat more. I feel like I have the appetite of a man, but I just prefer to eat larger meals, especially right after a workout. It's already 20 after 1, so your girl can eat a lot in one sitting. But entered everything into my fitness pal so you guys can see it. And wrong thing, nutrition. So that meal ends up being 42 protein, 49 carbs, 14 fiber, 6 sugar, and 17 fats. There you have it. It is just a lazy Sunday here, you guys. Let me show you my little Sunday setup here while Jason's in the other room editing videos that we did yesterday. I created this little situation. We got the Bruce monster right there. I created this cozy little, yes, I still have Christmas pillows out. This little atmosphere while I'm answering client emails, taking notes, and drinking this coconut, whatever. I can't say it right. You guys always tell me how to say it and I forgot. So yeah, I've been doing that for a bit and it is now like 3-ish or something. And I don't want to get too behind on food. So I'm gonna have an apple, I think. Got Pink Lady apples. So I'm not gonna wait, I'm just gonna eat it. I mean, I'm fairly precise when it comes to tracking macros, but for the most part, like I can tell gram-wise, like how much I'm eating that I'm not gonna worry about weighing it and stuff. I'm just gonna eat this now while I continue to work on emails, and yeah, it's super relaxed day. I like it. I go to the grocery store and get all the vegetables. And your husband needs a mac and cheese cup and ice cream. That Vulcan life!
I'm like, who's she talking to?
Can someone else tell me whose husband I'll leave anyone else's husband eat these. And I won't even tell you how old Jason is because you wouldn't believe me anyways.
You eat like a 6-year-old.
Trust that he's too old to be eating these. Alright, so I'm gonna cook some foods in my air fryer.
I'm gonna cook some foods in my air fryer.
I don't know what to say to that. You guys wanted recipes. I don't really have recipes. I don't really know what the heck I'm doing with it. I leave it on 350 for everything and cook it all at 15 minutes. So that's probably not right, but whatever. So I'm going to throw in here, I've got some tomato, red bell pepper, yellow and green squash, and this adorable little potato trio. Look how tiny these potatoes are. They're so cute. So I've got, I don't know, 115, 120 grams of potato. And yes, for an air fryer, the beauty of it is just that the air circulates in there, hot air, and you don't have to use fat with cooking, but it is optional. And when I cook things like potatoes in there, I do like to use a little fat, and I do like to use fat with cooking just as a fat source to get my fats in. So I am going to use this Wegmans organic basting oil. It's pretty good. It's got seasonings in there too, which is why I like it. So that is a blend of sunflower oil, garlic flavor, and herbs. My herbs, it's got parsley, thyme, garlic flavor, and I told you guys the rest. So I'm just gonna literally use 1 teaspoon of that on there, and we're gonna cook it in the air fryer. So we take a this, and I'm not putting anything down, I'm just dumping these son bitches in there. And make sure they're like evenly spread out. Close it. Make sure it's plugged in. My go-to of 350. And 15 minutes. Final meal coming at you. I've got ground beef, 955, that my man cooked for me, with all the veggies and the potatoes. Looks good. And Simple Girl, getting a free plug right now, but sent me some of their sauces and dressings, and I just tasted this one, and I like it. It's a little spicy, a little heat behind it, but good flavor, like 0 macros, and good stuff in it. So I think I'm gonna put just a little bit of this on this.
You got food for me?
and eat it together. His head is like fucking counter level. Don't be licking your lips at my dinner, sir. You already ate your dinner. Now you're sitting all sweet. Alright guys, as I mentioned earlier, I wanted to talk to you about where my macros are at. I am going to change them for this upcoming week, and so I wanted to explain to you how I did that, why I did that, and for those of you watching, if you're joining this journey with me, getting into better health and just feeling more comfortable in your body, this is an area to explore with adjusting your macros. So for this first week, I had set my macros at, I believe, we will list them up here, but I believe 180 carbs, 120 protein, and like 45, 46 grams of fat. So I was really good with that all week. I touched on this in my weekly update video, so I won't rehash that. But those were the macros that I set for maintenance that seemed to work out very well. However, I will say the carbs for me, I didn't hit all the time. And I kept them consistent all week. So regardless if I lifted, if I didn't lift, if I took a total rest day, I did the same exact macros, which I actually really like. Sometimes it's just easier having the same macros. However, I know what works for my body, and what worked very well for me last year after following consistent macros was throwing in a refeed day into the mix. And refeed days sometimes can be hard for those of us that aren't used to them, because what you usually do with a refeed day is significantly increase your carbohydrate macros for the day, your carb grams for the day. And you know, some people lower their fat, some don't. I typically lower my fat, increase my carbs quite a bit on a refeed. And when I did this last year during my prep, I was doing it once a week, and then I started doing it twice a week, which I was like, this is crazy. I'm having 2 refeeds a week, and I would always drop weight. So if you're someone who's consistently dieting or following macros and you feel like you're not seeing any changes, throwing in a refeed is kind of a nice way to switch things up. It gives your body that boost of energy on that day, that burst of extra carbohydrates, and that can sometimes assist with your hormone levels, that can help prevent those plateaus that we experience, or it can help you break through those plateaus. So I could do a whole separate video on refeeds, but this is just my full day of eating. So I wanted to mention for this week, I am going to implement a refeed once a week. I'm going to do it on the weekday. Actually, I decided I'm going to do it this Thursday, because on the weekends, because I sleep a little more, I train a little later, my food intake is always later in the day, and therefore I feel like it'd be harder for me to get in all the food I would need to get in successfully. So I'm going to do it during the week on a leg day. Try to do it on a heavier lift day where I do find that I am hungrier. So like after a leg day, I can easily throw down, you know, a good amount of carbs post lift. So it just makes sense for me to do it that way. That's how I've always done it, and also learned from other coaches. But with that, I am gonna drop down like my daily carbs a little bit, not just because I'm adding in a refeed, but mostly because I wasn't hitting the 180 anyways. And I want to be on point with my numbers. So I'm dropping my macros down to 160 carbs for the week. And I'm leaving protein consistent at 120. Typically, protein for the most part will stay the same during a cutting phase, maybe even during a bulking phase. But for me, I don't really have any need to adjust my protein intake. And fat is going to stay the same as well at 45 grams. I really don't want to go too far below 45 grams, but so ideally I would like to keep protein and fat where they are and manipulate the carbs and that as I'm going along, just to see how I respond. And for my refeed day, so my new macros ends up being about 1,525 calories, and which again, guys, I'm not a big person, I'm little, and so it's not a bad amount of macros for me. I feel good, I feel full, I feel satisfied, I can make really good choices within those macros. And then for my refeed, so how I went about doing this is I kind of played around with what I previously used to do from prior refeeds. So if you've never done a refeed before, so you don't really know how to gauge that, normally what I do is I like to increase like 50 grams of carbs, maybe 100 grams of carbs above what your normal daily carbohydrate intake is. And for me, since this will be my first week implementing a refeed and I haven't done it in a while, I'm just going to increase it by 50 grams of carbs from what I was doing before. So my refeed macros are going to be 225 grams of carbs 225 grams of carbs with protein staying at 120, and then my fat I'm going to drop down to 35 for the day. So I will have to be mindful of making sure I don't go over on my fat sources so that I can get in all my carbs without the fat going way too high. So calorically, that will put me at 1,695 calories for my refeed day, which is about 150 more calories than I'll be consuming every other day of the week. So very easy to figure out. Just play around with it, trial and error. There's, you can probably find some calculators out there. I don't know. I've always done it based on using like a 50, 75 grams or 100 grams of carbs above what I'm normally consuming, and do the refeed on a day that you're lifting. Again, if you haven't experimented with it before, it can be helpful if you do lower fat to meal plan ahead of time so that you make sure with getting the extra carbs, you're not going way over fat and thus calories being way higher. Because again, this is about energy expenditure if you are in a cutting phase, and I am aiming to lose a little bit. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited to implement that this week. It should be interesting to get in more carbs, and a lot of times it can be fun to implement new foods on a refeed. Or if you're someone that like knows what foods work for you, a very simple way of doing it, when people are like, how am I gonna get all those carbs? You just double up like what you normally eat. If you normally have oats or toast or whatever grain source you have at breakfast, double it if you want. I prefer to eat a lot for breakfast. Like I'd rather have like 100 carbs after breakfast. So those are just a couple ways to do it. If you guys want a separate refeed video with talking about that, I do have an old one, but I could certainly update you with that for this series. So that's it on the macros.
But just realize that if you choose
Watching
to
the
do
low
this,
blinders.
not only deceiving yourself,
Well, I try to get in more carbs and I'm actually, does the lighting look crazy right now? Not hungry, but I'm having another slice of toast with 10 grams of the mixed nut butter again, and a serving of the sugar-free strawberry preserves. It's getting late and I'm at the point I just want to this girl just wants to get her food in so I can lay down and sleep because I'm just not feeling so hot today. So sometimes you gotta put the food in even if you don't want to, because the name of the game is consistency. And that I've been killing, and I shall continue to. So I encourage you to as well. Sometimes you have to eat when you're not hungry. I get asked that a lot from clients. If I'm not hungry or I'm under macros, that's okay, right? And not necessarily. Like, we want to know, your body kind of wants to know what's coming in on a daily basis. Not to say that it's always going to be perfect. It's good to be in tune with your body, but there's a fine line. And since I'm just starting out, I'm going to remain consistent with the plan. Effort to just get my meals done. I saved the best for last, which I had already programmed in for my meals for the day so that I knew I had enough allocated for it. But this is the perfect snack, meal, whatever, if you're craving something sweet, and or if you're not hungry but you need to get some food in. I find that anytime I eat this, it doesn't fill me up. It just tastes really good. So if you need something like that, this is perfect. So I am going to make a brownie bowl, but the essence here is the per item vegan protein. Flavor is chocolate. This is my favorite. You guys know I'm not vegan, but 1 scoop is 2 fat, 4 carbs, 2 fiber, 21 grams of protein. And this is my favorite protein. And yes, I am still with MTS Nutrition, RD Nutrition. Check out that Fitburn. Get it at tigerfitness.com. But you guys can also get this from tigerfitness.com. And it's my fave. I've been doing tons of recipes with it. So I'm gonna use that. We're gonna use some dark cocoa. We're gonna use baking powder. We're gonna use a little bit of milk, and then my favorite thing, I could shed a tear, it's so good. I add some coconut. Are there any left? Just enough, just enough. I add some of these, and then we top it with this. This is my treaty treat, and it's heavenly. I'll show you what it looks like when it's done, and that is gonna end the night. Also, I don't mention this a lot, but if you guys use my Tiger Fitness link that's in the description box of like all of my YouTube videos, you guys can go there now and find it. I do make a little commission off any purchases you make using my link, so I really appreciate it if you want to help your girl out by using my link anytime you go there to make any supplement purchases. So thank you, please do that. Time to make my brownie. The consistency of the vegan protein is just on another level when it comes to cooking a brownie. So I've got my chocolate chips in there, my coconut, and I'm now going to use my whipped cream. I'm not sure why I'm out of breath, I think it's just my sinuses. And a little bit more. There it is. So beautiful. That is my last meal. I'm gonna go ahead and savor the flavor on this. I hope you guys enjoyed this full day of eating. Make sure to hit like if you want to see more videos like this, and I'll see you in the next one.